You've been trained to feel proud of a number that makes you profitable. Not wealthy, profitable. You know the ritual. It's the middle of the month, maybe you're standing in line for coffee or lying in bed trying to fall asleep, and you open that app on your phone. You know the one. The interface is probably bright and friendly. You tap the screen, there's a little loading animation, and then, boom, a 3-digit number pops up. If it's green and pointing up, you feel this little hit of dopamine. You feel responsible. You feel like an adult who has their act together. You might even feel superior to the version of yourself from 5 years ago. But if it dropped, if it went from $780 to $745 because you bought a plane ticket or forgot a store card balance, you feel a pit in your stomach. You feel like you've done something wrong. You start panicking, wondering if you'll ever be able to buy a house or if the system is judging you. Here is the uncomfortable truth that nobody in the finance industry wants to say out loud. That anxiety you feel, that emotional roller coaster over a 3-digit number, that is a product, and you are the user being farmed. We have been conditioned to believe that your credit score is a report card for your life. We think it measures how wealthy we are or how successful we are. But it doesn't. A credit score doesn't measure your wealth. It measures how reliably you generate revenue for a bank. Generate revenue hits harder than profitability. I know people with a net worth of $2 million who have a mediocre credit score because they stopped borrowing money. And I know people who are drowning in 6 figures of debt, living paycheck to paycheck, who have a perfect 800 score. The bank loves one of those people and hates the other. Today, I'm going to show you why the perfect score is a trap designed to keep you on a treadmill of payments forever. And I'm going to give you a specific step-by-step protocol to hack the system so you can stop obsessing over the number and start building actual freedom. Actually, let's pause for a second. I want you to look at your wallet right now, or just think about it. How many cards are in there? How many of them did you open just to build your credit or get points? When you walk into a casino, who gets the free drinks? Who gets the best room? Who gets the VIP treatment? Is it the guy who walks in, bets $5, wins 10, and leaves? No, it's the guy who stays at the table all night, losing slowly over and over again. The casino loves that guy. They give him status. They make him feel special. Your 800 credit score is the bank's version of a VIP wristband. It doesn't mean you're winning. It means you're playing the game correctly. It is their way of tagging you as a good consumer. And in the banking world, a good consumer is someone who borrows money, pays interest, and never quite escapes the cycle. If you have 0 debt and $1 million in cash, you are useless to the credit scoring model. You are invisible. So we need to completely reframe what this number actually is. To understand the trap, you have to look at what actually moves the needle on your score. You've probably heard the basics: pay on time, keep balances low, but let's look deeper. The 2 biggest factors are payment history and credit utilization. On the surface, this sounds like be responsible, but look at the incentives. To have a great score, you need a mix of credit. They literally reward you for having multiple types of debt: a car loan, a mortgage, credit cards. When you pay off your car and close the account, your score often drops. Think about how insane that is. You did the financially responsible thing. You eliminated a liability, and the algorithm punishes you. Why? Because the algorithm isn't designed to measure your financial health. It's designed to measure your interaction with the debt system. When you pay off a loan, you are telling the bank, "I don't need you anymore." And the algorithm responds by saying, "Well, then we can't trust you as much." This is why you see 25-year-olds stressing out because they don't have enough debt history. We have an entire generation terrified of being debt-free because they think it will ruin their future. Here is a scenario I see constantly. I'll talk to someone who has $15,000 in credit card debt. They have the cash and savings to pay it off, but they don't. Why? Because they are terrified that if they drain their savings to pay off the debt, their utilization will look weird, or they like seeing the high limit availability. They are voluntarily paying 25% interest to defend a scoreboard that doesn't build wealth. This is the gamification trap. When you turn something into a game, when you give people a score, a progress bar, and little green arrows, humans will optimize for the score, even if it hurts their actual goal. Your actual goal is net worth. Your goal is to own your time. The bank's goal is to keep you borrowing. These two goals are fundamentally opposed. If you optimize your life for an 800 credit score, you will almost certainly end up with more monthly payments, more subscriptions to debt, and more mental clutter. If you optimize your life for net worth, your credit score might fluctuate. It might settle around 740 or 760. And you know what? That is absolutely fine. Let me ask you a question. Do you know what the difference in mortgage rates is between someone with a 760 credit score and someone with an 850 credit score? Take a guess. The answer is basically nothing. Lenders price in tiers. Once you cross into excellent, the spread collapses. The difference between 760 and 850 is usually noise, not thousands of dollars. Everything above that, the grind from 780 to 800, the obsession with getting to 850, is vanity. It's a status symbol that nobody else can see. It serves zero functional purpose in your financial life. It's like getting an A+++ on a test, where an A gets you the exact same scholarship. You're studying for hours for extra credit that doesn't count. So, if we accept that we only need a good enough score to buy a house or rent an apartment, and that anything higher is a trap to keep us engaged with debt, how do we handle this? We need a system. We need a way to put this on autopilot so you never have to think about it again. I want to give you a specific workflow here. This is the deliverable. I want you to stop playing the game and start managing the system. Here is the 3-step protocol that keeps your score strong while you focus on building net worth. Step 1. The utilization sniper. Most people pay their credit card bill on the due date. That's what the bank tells you to do. But here's the loophole they don't advertise. The bank usually reports your balance to the credit bureaus a few days before your due date, typically on the statement closing date. So if you have a $5,000 limit and you spend $2,000, even if you pay it off on the due date, the bank has already taken a snapshot showing you're using 40% of your credit. That hurts your score. Here is the hack. Find out your statement closing date. Set a calendar alert for 3 days before that date. Log in and pay the balance down to something tiny, like $10 or $20. When the statement closes, the bank reports a $10 balance. Your utilization is near zero. Your score jumps. Then, AutoPay clears the final $10 on the due date, so you pay no interest. You only need to do this on one card to keep your score high. You don't need to juggle 10 cards. Step 2. The Netflix anchor. If you have old credit cards that you don't use, the bank might close them for inactivity. If they close them, your credit age drops and your score drops. But you don't want to carry those cards around and be tempted to spend. So take your oldest credit card, put a small recurring subscription on it, Netflix, Spotify, a $5 charity donation, set it to autopay the full balance every month. Take the physical card, put it in a drawer or shred it, and forget it exists. That card is now a digital anchor. It is building payment history and credit age while you sleep, and you never have to touch it. Step 3. The freeze. This is the most important step for your mental health. Once your score is above 760, I want you to go to the 3 major bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, and freeze your credit. It's free. It stops identity theft, but psychologically it does something even better. It puts a closed sign on your debt shop. If you walk into a store and they offer you 10% off to open a card, you'll have to say, "No, my credit is frozen and I don't feel like unfreezing it right now." It adds friction. Friction is the enemy of impulse. By freezing your credit, you are opting out of the game until you decide you need to buy a house or a car. You are taking the power back. I want to tell you about a conversation I had recently. I was talking to a guy. Let's call him Marcus. Marcus is 32. He's doing well, making good money. But he admitted to me that he checks his credit score app every single morning. He said, "I feel like if I stop checking, it's going to crash." He told me he avoided closing a credit card with a $150 annual fee, a card he didn't even use because he was scared his score would drop 10 points. Think about that. He is paying a bank $150 a year for permission to keep a number on a screen slightly higher. That is the definition of a tax on your anxiety. And the bank didn't force him to pay it. They just designed a system that made him afraid not to. I told Marcus what I'm telling you. Close the card. Take the hit. Your score might drop 15 points. Who cares? Are you buying a house next week? No? Then that number means nothing. In 3 months, it will probably bounce back anyway. But that $150, that's real money you could have invested. That anxiety, that's real energy you could have used to build your business or enjoy your life. We need to redefine what financial reputation means. For the last 40 years, we've been told that your reputation is your ability to borrow. Real wealth is the ability to say no to borrowing and not feel a single ounce of fear. When you have $20,000 or $50,000 in the bank, you don't need a credit card for an emergency. You are your own bank. When you buy a used car with cash, you don't care what the financing manager thinks of your FICO score. The ultimate flex isn't walking into a bank with an 850 score and begging for a loan. The ultimate flex is not needing to walk into the bank at all. Now, I want to be realistic. I'm not saying destroy your credit. We live in a system where landlords check credit, employers sometimes check credit, and insurance companies check credit. You need to maintain it. It's like basic hygiene. You brush your teeth so they don't fall out, but you don't obsess over making them blindingly white every single hour of the day. Treat your credit score like a hygiene factor. 1. Is it above 740? 2. Are there any errors on the report? 3. Is it frozen? Anything beyond that is ego management, not wealth building. If the answer to those 3 questions is yes, then you are done. Close the app, delete the notification, stop letting an algorithm dictate your mood. I want you to leave this video with a sense of relief. You are not a number. You are not a risk profile. The banking system has spent billions of dollars on marketing to make you feel insecure about your score. They did that because insecure people borrow more money. Insecure people pay late fees. Insecure people are profitable. The moment you realize that the 800 score is just a marketing funnel, the game loses its power over you. Focus on your savings rate. Focus on your assets. Focus on your peace of mind. Those are the scores that actually change your life. Let the bank worry about their numbers. You worry about yours. I am Maven. Thanks for watching.